Welcome back everybody to another episode of the GC Informer. I am Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula. And it's gonna be some bad news I'll follow it with some good stuff. I'm gonna get the bad news out of the way. Remember yesterday when I was a little bit optimistic about Star Wars Battlefront 2 version 2? Yeah, no, fuck that. As it turns out, a statement was released after I published the news for yesterday, stating that microtransactions will return to the beleaguered game when it is appropriate, quote, in a few months. Of course, this is a terrible idea, because we know full well how well it went the first time, and I have no reason to believe that it will be any better this time, and you've just dashed any hope of getting a sale from me. And speaking of sales though, they've come out with their report of sales for that game, and they decided to slightly lie in the statement that they gave out about that report, saying that it had sold 9 million units, which is apparently an awful, desperate failure. Although, let's quickly do the maths on that. 9 million units, I'm just gonna go here. It's not really been much on sale, so I'm gonna assume that they're gonna be mostly full price units. So, we've got a, let's do it in dollars, so a $60 game, and we're timesing that by 9 million. $540 million, and that is apparently a failure. Do bear in mind that, yes, this game is actually considered by EA to be a commercial failure at around $500 million. However, that would be if the figure they gave was correct. The actual figure released in their report was that the game sold only about 7 million units, which is quite a bit of a discrepancy, although it still puts the total revenue of the game at around $420 million. And let's be honest, if that is not profitable for your game, you are spending far too much money developing that game. I've seen really high quality blockbuster Hollywood movies with smaller budgets than that, and if you can't make a video game on a $420 million budget, then there's something wrong with you. If that's not profitable for you, you're doing it wrong. Anyway, that is just, quite telling that one of the biggest AAA releases of the last year by, well, what should have been one of the biggest releases, didn't even sell 10 million units. And speaking of though, let's move on to the second bit of news about sales again, but this is nice and positive. So let's cheer ourselves up from Star Wars Battlefront 2 and talk about Nintendo, because, Nintendo this year have done nothing but good, and to prove that, really, the Switch has now outsold the lifetime sales of the Wii U in literally, I think it's 9 months, which is insanity. Yes, in the last sort of few weeks, the Nintendo Switch has sold just over 13 million units, which is amazing, and that actually beats out the lifetime sales of the Wii U, which sold about 13 million in a good sort of 3 or 4 years of production, which is very telling about both the Wii U and the Switch, because that is still, even in console terms, not even just Nintendo terms, in console terms, that is quite a lot of units to sell in 9 months. The news only gets better for Nintendo though, because Mario is the highest selling game on the system with 9.3 million units. That's more than Battlefront 2! Ha ha ha! That is, of course, in just a few months as well. Mario Odyssey has only been out since sort of October, November time, and just amazing to see. Also, Zelda Breath of the Wild sold 6.1 million units, Mario Kart 8 sold in the about 7.5 million region, Splatoon 2 has beat out the lifetime sales of Splatoon 1 already in sort of 9 months by selling about 4.5 million units. Great. Well done, Nintendo, for your first party IP, for your really good console, selling like gangbusters. Hooray! Good sales! Haha, fuck you, EA. The final bit of news then I'm going to talk about today is a bit of a strange one that I don't necessarily know how to feel about, and it's about Xbox. We all know how I feel about the Steam platform and the Steam store at the moment, that it's a massive crock of bloated shite, and there's a move being made by Microsoft on the Xbox sort of ecosystem that might be good and might be terrible. What they're basically doing is putting a system out where anybody can put a game onto the Xbox One just out of nowhere. They don't have to go through any particular approval process. The only sort of gate to entry for that is to have an Xbox One, because that can work as its own dev kit, and to pay a flat fee of between $20 and $100. This hasn't been rolled out yet, but they're sort of testing the waters for now to see what they can come up with, and will then consider rolling it out in the future. Requirements are that your game must work, mustn't be offensive, so there will actually be direct insight, is that the right word? From Microsoft input, that'll do. Direct input from Microsoft employees going, hey, that game doesn't work, or that game is offensive, that needs to be taken away. They have fully just gone, yeah, we're doing that. We're putting human oversight into this, and you can just get your game taken away without warning. The game must also work on Windows 10, because it must be a universal Windows platform because of the whole Play Anywhere thing. So it must be able to work on Windows 10 as well as Xbox One. A move which I quite like, because, you know, another way to access games is always, you know, just nice for me to think about, even though I don't like using the Windows Store. See the last newscast for my opinions on that. And in a move that I personally like, because this is what will separate it more than anything from Steam, games published on the store in this manner won't go onto the main page immediately, and will instead be sort of on there. There's a special area for games that are put on the platform using this method. This might sound like a sort of, they're all suppressing the games, all the indie games are being suppressed. But what this actually says to me is that if there's a load of dross that just gets pumped onto this store, it's not going to infect the main page. It's not going to be like Steam, where you have to search for days and days just to find the game that you want. It's just in this little section, this dark corner. And in that dark corner, though, there will be the odd gem, which hopefully the community will find and Microsoft will notice and then promote that to the main store. Certainly from what they're saying about this, that sounds like it's going to be what they will do, and they can promote items from this weird store onto the main page if it's good enough. So that, in my mind, is a very, very good idea, and certainly much better than Steam. And of course, having human oversight as opposed to just bots and algorithms will make it hopefully even better. So well done, Microsoft! That brings us to the end of another GameCast Informer. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, or a share, whatever you fancy. Our social links are down in the description, along with a link to our Discord, where you can join in some lovely public chat. We are also hiring people, especially to do the news and to do things like Let's Plays. If you've got interesting content ideas that you want to bring to us, if you want to do the news, if you think you can do that, then please message myself or any of the GameCast crew, and we'll be happy to have a nice chat with you about that. But otherwise, stay tuned to GameCast. We have news, reviews, Let's Plays, lots of lovely things. All of your gaming needs can be found here, and I will see you soon for more news.